What an impressive victory that was. A 2-0 victory for Bristol City up in the northeast to beat Middlesbrough away from home for another season. We've beaten Middlesbrough at the Riverside, and this was another very good performance. Gritty, determined, hard-working, defensively resolute, all of those kind of words in that particular semantic field, I think they call it. Yeah, you could label this Bristol City performance as, especially in that second half. Just quickly, I didn't talk about this in the channel during the international break, but obviously Bristol City's international break was incredibly difficult for reasons much bigger than football. We obviously dealt with the loss of Liam Manning's newborn son, Theo, who unfortunately passed away, and that's affected everyone associated with Bristol City, working fans, players, staff, coaching staff, everyone. It's been incredibly tough from a Bristol City perspective this past 2 weeks. But unfortunately, with the nature that football is, it's relentless, it's unforgiving in a lot of ways, and obviously Manny's since kind of temporarily stepped down, and hence Chris Hogg was taking charge of this game, possibly for future games in the short-term future as well. And yeah, incredibly difficult news for I'm sure the Manning family. And I obviously send them my best wishes. And look, it's just seeing people kind of discuss can Manning come back? When will he come back? I think it's just about giving Liam and his family the appropriate amount of time to kind of get themselves back in shape, really, fit enough to get back to their normal lives. But yeah, incredibly sad news, and it's been a difficult 2 weeks, but we've had a game to look forward to, and it was going to be incredibly telling to see how Bristol City would react to this, and I don't think anyone would have complained or kind of been aggrieved if this was incredibly tough for them mentally, because I'd expect it was, and it probably was very tough for them mentally to kind of bounce back after receiving the news. But it looked incredibly good, this Bristol City team today, in that 2-0 win up at the Riverside. Well, we've won again for another season. Let's talk about the game. There was 3 changes, I think. Scott Twine came out of the fold altogether. It's injury related. Again, we're not completely sure on the length of it. Hopefully weeks rather than months. Max Bird came into the team. He was excellent, as he normally is, in place of Scott Twine. Naki Wells comes in ahead of Sinclair Armstrong, and Ross McCrory obviously came in for Campering, who we knew is going to be out for a while. Middlesbrough, it was Tony Dieng, Neto Borges, George Edmondson, Rav van den Berg, Luke Ayling, back 4, Morris Hackney in midfield, Doak, Azaz, Hamilton off, Emmanuel Latte-Lath up front. Middlesbrough are a good team. They showed that in parts today. They've been very good on the ball. They've got one of the highest kind of they've got one of the best underlying sets of data in the Championship. Their biggest problem, and yet again it was completely evident today, is the fact that they can't put the ball in the back of the net. They've got options, Latte-Lath, Azaz, Conway as well, but they can't seem to put the ball, Bergsorg as well, they can't seem to put the ball in the back of the net, and that was also evident today. Most of that first half, Bristol City on the back foot, but two Middlesbrough errors really gets us 2 goals. Anis Mehmeti fires into the roof of the net from 12 yards out with his right foot, and then just before half time comes about, Yu Hirakawa, Jason Knight robs, kind of cuts out really. Robs. I can't remember, some sort of passing sequence in midfield. Knight runs forward, kind of tries to take on a couple of players, gets into the box, lays on for Hirakawa. Hirakawa onto his left foot inside the box and just curls it beautifully. It's an aesthetically pleasing finish from the Japanese winger, and Bristol City 2-0 up at that point, and a beautiful kind of counter-attacking display in a lot of ways, kind of soaking up pressure with Viner, who I thought was excellent. Ross McCrory at left back was absolutely outstanding throughout the 90 minutes, absolutely brilliant. He was really good when he came on against Cardiff, considering the fact that he hadn't played in a while and had to play at left back. Again, start of the game, left back, continue the game. Left back outstanding. McNally as well. He's a really good natural defender, isn't he? So absolutely fantastic first half display from a defensive perspective, and that had to carry out in the second half because Middlesbrough were going to play with a little bit more intensity than they did. They were going to make substitutions. They do have some options. They are they have a good squad, and they aren't a bad side, so they are going to react from this. And we just stood up to the challenge absolutely immensely. A really, really good defensive display. Again, that back four, absolutely outstanding. Sinclair Armstrong being an option off the bench with half an hour to go, again, provides a little bit of chaos in there. It's a bit of a dynamite you throw in there, Sinclair Armstrong, with as a substitute, considering the fact that Naki Wells did his job in a lot of ways, kind of pushing the defence and running them around a little bit. And then Sinclair Armstrong, if the defence is a little bit tired, if you get Sinclair Armstrong on, it's going to be incredibly difficult for the opposition defence to deal with him. He did a very good job when he came on, holding the ball up. And when we were under a little bit of pressure, him sometimes being an outlet was quite good. And then again, on his height on physicality on set plays, defensive set plays in particular, really impressive and really useful. Now he came on 60. Obviously, Tommy Conway came on in place of Finn Azaz in 62. And after that, Middlesbrough got into a lot more kind of threatening areas, I'd say. Tommy Conway was quite... He's a lot more kind of fluid, isn't he, Conway, in that number 10 position. He has been for Borough so far this season, and he caused us a few problems, and him kind of overlapping on the right-hand side for Ayling and for Ben Doku was causing us problems for most of the game, even though McCrory stood up to most of the challenges quite well. Yeah, him linking up with Conway was a little bit of a problem, but ultimately didn't cause too many problems. Earthy comes on for Anis Mehmeti, and Cal Naismith comes in place of Max Bird. Max Bird outstanding. I thought Mehmeti obviously getting the goal, and generally I thought had a very good game. So that obviously meant we moved to a back five, and generally, up until that point in the second half, so 20 minutes to go in the game, I thought we were quite good, kind of defensively. I was quite comfortable, and Middlesbrough didn't really look like they were going to break us down too easily or too many occasions. And it felt like there wasn't really too much of a necessary need at that point to go to a back five and kind of shut up shop. I understand with 5 minutes to go, bring on Naismith in place for maybe a number 10 and just sacrifice the number 10 and just defend for 5 minutes, that's fine. But with 20 minutes to go, felt a little bit of a risky move, especially if Middlesbrough scored straight after that, which they threatened to in bursts. McGree comes on for Aidan Morris. Ronnie McGree probably would have come on earlier if he hadn't been away with Australia. I think during the international break, Marcus Force comes on for Lathis at our side, Jones coming on for Luke Ayling, kind of the last throw of the dice from Michael Carrick. But ultimately, Michael Carrick's side completely nullified by an excellent defensive performance, and all of them really, the whole team, normally I'd just be praising the defence, the whole team collectively absolutely outstanding. And I just want to touch on that really, the determination from that whole group, whatever 11 players it was out on the pitch, the determination to defend, to protect that lead, to make sure we get that clean sheet for Max. I think the second clean sheet of the season now. Absolutely brilliant, and it's just something you want to see in a lot of ways. And normally when we are kind of defending and kind of hanging on, normally when we're defending or conceding possession, we're hanging on a little bit and we're not really sure if we're going to see the game out. Didn't really look like Middlesbrough were in too much the threat of getting a goal or putting City under series of bombardments of pressure. Maybe that's a little bit on Middlesbrough, but it's also credit to Bristol City in terms of how we defended, the structure we held and the positions we held up and the interceptions and the blocks and the fact that we cleared it whenever we could. We played at points when towards the end of the game with kind of like 10 minutes to go, we started playing a little bit more. Earthy coming on, provide a little bit of a different outlet as well, but really good defensive performance and something you want to see from a Bristol City perspective in going into the future as well. Just an outstanding victory and 3 massive points in terms of the context of the table now. We're 10th, which is good. Managed to do goal difference level on points with Middlesbrough, 4 points off Blackburn in 6th, and we're looking better on the base of that 90 minutes. But 4 games unbeaten. It's a start of a very difficult run from Bristol City perspective in terms of on paper, because Stoke away is not going to be easy midweek. They've just drawn home to Norwich, and then Leeds, Preston, who've just beaten Coventry, Sheffield United have obviously just beaten for the first time yesterday. Norwich away is going to be incredibly tough. Burnley obviously incredibly tough. Watford away is always tough, no matter how good Watford are. So it's going to be interesting to see how Bristol City carry themselves out. But a very good start to this run of fixtures up until the next international break. Thank you very much for watching, everyone. This match review. Hope you've enjoyed it. That win I think you can all agree when I say this is dedicated to Liam Manning, Theo, and the rest of the family. And yeah, complete condolences to them. Really emotional time at Bristol City. But yeah, thank you very much for watching, everyone. Keep safe, and I'll catch you all later. Cheers.